Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you today about was we've got some youngsters that are starting to go into the exam season, and they're certainly, you know, heading into May and June, and it's an exciting time, but also it can be a very stressful time, and anxiety can really increase. And so what I wanted to share with you is some techniques that we use in kinesiology. We use a whiteboard for writing and things like that, and often we're going to be muscle testing those. But what I want to show you is, you know, the ways that we fix certain things, so that you can help, you know, family and friends, and if you're a teacher, maybe you can help your kids in your classes. So people always are asking us about, you know, the whole person approach that we use. And one of the things that we are very conscious of is that, you know, sometimes people say, oh, well, this is very good for kinesiology, or for, you know, anxiety, or this batch flower might be very good for them, or this approach has been shown to work. And with kinesiology, we really want to look and see because each person is unique and each person is very different, we want to look at their collection of circumstances. And so we will look at nutrition, we'll look at the batch flowers, but I don't know if you can see this on, I think it's back to front on Facebook Live, but it's our mental, emotional, and chemical and physical approach to whole health. And so when we keep this in the background, keep this in as a way to, that's not going to work, it's not going to stand up. When we are thinking about those things and we're able to treat the person very much as they present to us, we're able to test and see for that specific person what is the best way for to help them. So sometimes, you know, we've got some techniques that will help with reading and writing. We've got some techniques that are going to help with energy levels. We're going to look at maybe, you know, food testing, which was in last month's episode. Is that right? In episode 6, we did a food testing demo. And so, you know, there's a whole person approach, but I'm going to show you a few things today. So one of the things that we have done, if I was helping someone with learning difficulties, or wanted to improve their reading or writing and things like that, one of the first things that I would probably want to include and to make sure is if they're dehydrated. So I have my water here. It's something that, you know, the brain is primarily, you know, affected by dehydration. And so it's a very simple thing to do, is to make sure that, you know, students are drinking enough water each day, as well as during the exam itself. And so when we're working hard and we're under stress, you know, the body needs more water than usual. So do make sure you bring a bottle of water into the exam. And I'm going to tell you another reason for that. Quite apart from if you're prone to coughing and when you're under stress, it can be a sign that you're dehydrated when you cough a lot. So you definitely want to have water on available to you. So that's kind of working in the chemical realm. We also work with cross crawl. Cross crawl is a great little technique that we use to help increase mind power, and it's something that, you know, stimulates the brain. It really helps to improve coordination. It improves memory. So if you're struggling to remember, you know, dates or lists of things, then you can do this cross crawl action at the same time as you're studying, and that can really make a difference. It also helps to revitalize lymph flow. And so our lymph is part of our immune system. And I know that when we're under stress, it can really make a difference when we're, you know, to our immune system. We sometimes come down with all the colds that are going around and feeling a bit groggy. So anything that you can do to help improve your lymph flow and circulation, all the better. And it's already used in various forms to help kids with dyslexia. But it also helps to reduce stress. So essentially what it is you're moving your right hand side of the body, and so right arm and a left leg. I'm going to stand up so you can see, and hopefully I don't knock too many things down and you can see me okay. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to be bringing, at the very least, your hand to your knee, and you're going to be doing this back and forth. And what you're doing is, as I said, we're using both sides of the body at the same time, okay? So we're using the right-hand side and the left-hand side. If you're a bit more adventurous, you can go elbow to knee, elbow to knee. So you can just about see me there on Facebook Live. So you do that, you can do that every day. And as I said, if you were having to recite, whether you were doing spellings or learning how to spell a word, or if you were having to remember dates, you know, of wars and things like that, and who knows what other things that people could be needing to learn, is that you could do those at the same time as doing your cross-crawl while you're studying. So it's definitely something to take action on in these early days. You know, exams aren't starting now we're now 27th of April, so another month to go, would you say, for exams? You can say something. So, yeah, plenty of time to really take advantage of this time that we have to be able to really increase your mind power. That's what cross-crawl is all about. And as I said, it's used for, using both sides of the body is very important when you're helping kids with dyslexia or any kind of learning difficulties. But it also reduces stress, so it's definitely one for adults too, when they're sitting in a chair most of the day and feeling a bit sluggish, and you know, you need the brain power to really focus on a technique, on a project that you're working on. Going for a walk is a great way to activate cross-crawl. I mean, but you do need to be moving your arms. You want to move your arms as much as possible, so you're activating both sides of the body. And but yeah, that can make a huge difference. And even if it's just cross-crawl in your office, get everyone doing it. And if you're a teacher, all the kids doing it before our exams in kinesiology. You know, we always get our students to do all these extra things to help balance the brain and use the techniques. I firmly believe that we have the best techniques in the world to be able to help people with their exams and feel more confident when they're doing their exams. So yeah, so cross-crawl is our first technique, and I think there are. We're certainly going to be sending you some information after the training today, or after the health show episode. I don't think you can see that on Facebook Live, but it's probably back to front anyway, so don't worry, it's just cross-crawl. Okay, so another part of when we're doing exams is our ability to write clearly. And you know, writing is a kind of encephalogram, a brain writing. And when we're stressed, I'm sure you've noticed when you're stressed or in a hurry, you know, our writing can go very stressed looking. In fact, we probably don't even really write that much anymore. But when we do, you know, if you ever write a long list, sometimes as a kid, I certainly, you know, I used to recognize that one page my writing would be like this, another page it would look a bit different. And so depending on how stressed and how calm we are, can impact on how we write. And you know, everyone's unique. Everyone has different writing styles. But because you're going to be writing down your answers in an exam, it's really important, because if you are writing something and you know your teacher or someone's going to be marking that exam, they need to be able to see it clearly. And so one of the things that we do, obviously, if someone came to my clinic, I would be looking to test them and see, does their writing strengthen them or does it weaken them? And so what we do is, you know, we write a kind of a neutral statement, and you know, we look and see how the writing is. So we go, right, well, this pen, the writing is purple, and the paper is white. Okay, so I haven't done any lazy 8s for a while, but this is the treatment. So in kinesiology, we would be testing that statement and seeing, you know, is it easy to read for the person reading it? Does it make the muscle go weak? I mean, kinesiology is very much about using our you know, our language of muscle testing to find out where the problem is. So if that is, so what you can do at home, if you're not, you know, going to a kinesiologist, you don't know how to muscle test, you can still do this. But the correction then is to do lazy eights. And a lazy eight is just an eight, a figure of eight on its side. And what you're going to do is you're going to ideally be in the center of the paper. And you're going to go up to the left and up to the right. And then you're going to do these lazy eights over and over. Okay? You're going to do it with one hand, you can do it with the other hand, and you can do it then with both hands. Ideally, you'll be in the middle of the paper. Okay? And that helps to integrate the brain as well. And then beautiful writing afterwards. Often children will, I need to stop talking while I'm doing this. And the paper is white. So I don't know if you notice any difference. There's a few little differences perhaps, but it's definitely really, really, really encouraging to students who have difficulty writing and very confidence building. And so these are all ways in which to get the brain working together. So both sides of the brain is better than just one side or the other. So that is our lazy eights. So that's our second lazy eights. I remember the very first time that I taught this. I think that, you know, there's been so many miracles over the years, but I remember the first time I taught this to, and he happened to be a teacher in my classroom, and he was teaching kids, and he was blown away at the improvement even in his writing when he went to when he was, you know, we went up the board and he did the lazy eights, and he was just so impressed at how quickly the changes could happen. So obviously you need to be doing this every day, you know, and anytime you're under stress, it's a really nice thing to do is to keep doing lazy eights. So remember, up to the left and up to the right is the best way, rather than. So sometimes you might even, if you have difficulty or remembering, or you get caught, is just to do a little arrow, so you know that you're always going up, from the center. Okay, so that is our lazy eights. Okay, the next thing is, really nice little technique. We're going to be getting my ears out, okay? And our ears receive a lot of electrical energy from outside the body. They also help us to hear better and to comprehend better. But also in the ear, there is little acupuncture reflexes. And so there's a whole therapy called auricular acupuncture, and so it's a way of being able to identify other areas of the body that might be out of balance. And so just by rubbing and unfurling the ears is more than you would think it is. It's more than you know, just rubbing your ears. It helps to balance the whole body. It helps to reset the ears on the head, and it helps with comprehension as well. So again, really important when you're listening to your teacher or listening to your boss, wherever it is, because these techniques are not just for kids, but you know, we were inspired to really help, and the reason for this particular training was because we knew that exam season's coming up, and so if you put all these things together, you know, straight away, then you know, by the time exams come around, it could be a breeze. All right, I mentioned water, so that's fine. Auricular lock, that was the ear ones, I've done that. And we have cross-crawl done and lazy eights. Wonderful. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to tell you about was batch flowers. So very much more on the emotional realm. A lot of kids and adults. I remember going into an exam one time years ago, and had never really had a major issue with exams in school, wasn't really that ambitious about anything. So, you know, kind of, my Irish exam was, I kind of did my minimum 1 hour or whatever it was. And I think I went to the passport office, because in those days you had to queue for hours to go to the passport office. And you know, my mind was definitely much more on travel and things like that. But when I was living in London, I did a course, and we had an exam with it. And I suddenly, like, I was getting this, felt like a panic attack, and I'd never had a panic attack. I didn't know what was going on, felt very unwell, and I had to be excused. I said, do you mind if I just go to the loo? And he's going, what's going on? Unfamiliar feeling. And I realized that I was just very, very nervous about the exam, didn't really understand why. And so I've since, always recommended, I think I had a series of exams. So on the next time I was doing exams, I had heard about Rescue Remedy. It's one of the blend of batch flowers. You may have heard of it before. It's a blend of 5. And there's actually, 38 batch flowers available. And so, as we treat everyone as a unique person, it's often good to find out what your combination is of batch flowers. And so, but particularly for stress and preparing for exams, I thought I'd highlight a few of them. So one of the first ones is procrastination. Not wanting to study. Hornbeam is the flower essence for that. Batch flowers are flower essences. They're really nice, work emotionally, but also quite subtly. It's quite a powerful kind of, the range of them is a powerful range of remedies. But hornbeam is particularly good for that Monday morning feeling. So all of us that have a Monday morning feeling going on every day, this is good. This is good for tiredness, but it's also for, for being unmotivated, or for people who, they keep putting the study off. So that's a good one to, that's hornbeam. Another one is around larch. I got larch out. Larch is for lack of confidence. And so, where are we now? Is it in the other box? There we go, larch. So larch, again, it'll be a bit back to front on there, but you might be able to see it on that one. Anyway, larch, lack of confidence. So this is when someone lacks confidence in themselves, has doubts, maybe that's a good one to take. And then another one we have is fear of failure. There's quite a few for fear of failure. So sometimes we're not sure about what the fear is, or we have known fears. And so there's aspen or rock rose or mimulus. Mimulus can help transform fear into sort of courage, really activating, your courage when you're just sitting exams. And then cherry plum also, it can help you to feel grounded and kind of like an inner strength. And so, there's 4 that just on, really looking at fear. And so where in kinesiology, we would be able to specifically know which ones are the ones that resonate with you better. So that's, a shout out for what we would do. But, absolutely no harm in going for, a few of those ones. Let me see, where can you see them? Is it that better? There we go. So we've got 4 there just as an example. And you can definitely put 4 into a bottle. Can you just pass me one of those bottles to the right, one further in the back? No, further in the back, yeah. Which one? Just any of those. It's just really, yeah, perfect, that one, empty. No, the empty one. Yeah, perfect. So if you were coming to a clinic, what I would do is I would find the specific batch flowers that tested well for the person, and then I would mix them up into a little bottle, and and then they could take that away with them, and then they could bring that into the exam room. Remember I mentioned about the bottled water, to bring a bottle of water into the exam room. That was what I did. The next time I was having an exam and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know, is this going to happen again? It never happened before, never happened since. So what I did was I brought Rescue Remedy. This is before my days of kinesiology, but I didn't know about, I only knew about Rescue Remedy. And so I put Rescue Remedy into the bottle of water, shook the whole thing up so that it all becomes Rescue Remedy. And then I could just sip that throughout the exam. And Rescue Remedy, it's really good for when exams are so close that, people are getting, tremendous anxiety that, is really unexplainable. And they're not going to do any harm. They are made on alcohol, so not necessarily, very, very diluted in water. So again, your own personal decision. You can apply them on the skin. and obviously not for anyone who abstains for whatever reason. So yeah, absolutely, batch flowers, wonderful way to support alongside our cross crawl, our auricular lock, drinking water, and our lazy 8s. So how many have I done? Have I done 5? I think I've done 5. We promised you 5, so let me just check. Cross crawl, lazy 8s, auricular lock, drinking water, batch flowers, and the ears, yeah, auricular lock. So yeah, those are all wonderful times. I'm just looking to see, we've got a few minutes left. So have we got any questions coming in, Gloria?
We do, yeah. Mary wants to know, her son always finds it really hard to sleep coming up to exams and during study time.
Okay, so really hard to sleep, yeah, absolutely. That can be all the worries going round and round and round and round. And I'm sure that you've all had times when, you know, the worst thing in the world is happening. And I think for kids, you know, it's their first opportunity to really understand that, oh my goodness, life has some challenges. And so one of the best things that I think we would do is, yeah, batch flowers would be lovely. But also our ESR technique. So if you're, you know, talking to your, was it son? Was it a boy?
Yes,
yeah. So hold these points really, really gently as they think about, you know, their stress and thinking about the exams, how unfair they are, how many things they have to learn, whatever it is. But also to actually visualize themselves sitting in the exam room, like being able to like really feel confident about how they know, you know, they can see themselves really being able to write lots of words and lots of good sentences, you know, maybe a few lazy 8s in there too, and they're starting to feel a lot more confident. Because the more confident we feel, you know, if we don't believe in ourselves, you know, and we're seeing this filter of, oh my goodness, I'm not good enough, I don't know enough, that can really impact on you know, how the exam goes. So I hope that answers the question. So I wanted to read you out, before you just go to other questions, I wanted to let you know about a student of ours who has a little 7-year-old, and she was diagnosed with dyspraxia when she was 4. So she's now 7. She's waiting an assessment for dyslexia, but most certainly has it. Even before her diagnosis, we knew that, am I allowed to say her name?
Yes.
Yeah, Farah. Little Farah was, you know, had something going on, and we'd had her at physiotherapy from 2, and speech and language therapy from 2.5 years old. And, you know, as with most families, you know, we were going down the traditional therapy route, and which certainly has its place for children with any sort of diagnosis. But it wasn't until she started learning kinesiology that she's seen huge changes in her levels of ability in all areas of her life. So she tested her for foods. On the Balanced Health course, you learn about how to test for foods. And so she found a couple of things that she was intolerant to, like wheat and lactose. And she also needed a probiotic and things like that. Tested her for the batch flowers and introduced cross crawl into our daily routine. And in 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, they saw an improvement in her concentration levels. Of course, concentration is so key because, you know, if you're, like, you know, not being able to concentrate, if you're not able to focus on what you're learning, then it doesn't really matter, you know, how many other things that you do. So that was wonderful. So she found some of the cross crawl difficult, and that absolutely can happen with kinesiology. We can find that, and there's ways to help fix that. But we kept going, and she said that she also found some omega-3 oils and some B vitamins. And again, those are all absolutely spot on to what certainly can really make a difference. B vitamins are fantastic for stress, and obviously learning is stress. So they were seeing definite improvements, and she started then doing lazy 8s with her a few months later. And within days, she could then do the cross crawl independently. She was having to do help with the cross crawl, and she was finding it a little bit more, you know, frustrating and things like that, even though they'd noticed a difference. But when they started to do the lazy 8s as well as part of the routine, then they got a great result with the cross crawl, and she was it seemed to be like the missing link, she says, in their daily routine. So become a part of their daily routine. So she started, so her mum started the kinesiology journey in September 2016, and it's now April 2017, and she would say that her memory has improved 100%, her attention span has improved 80%, she can dress this is Farah now, she can dress herself properly and put her shoes on the right feet, she can wash herself and brush her teeth without supervision or prompting, and her coordination has come on in leaps and bounds, she can now swim properly using her arms and legs together. Her anxiety levels have dramatically decreased, and she even knows when she needs to take her batch remedies as she sees the difference they make on her to her emotionally. Her literary skills have improved, and she couldn't even write her own name or even trace over dotted words to form letters properly. And her father's birthday was just a couple of weeks ago, and she could write "To Daddy, Love Farah" on his card independently and spell it. So absolutely, life-changing for Farah. So her mum recognises it's a work in progress, and there's no quick fixes for children with special needs, and you do have to work at their pace. But kinesiology definitely provided the tools we needed to boost her learning ability in both inside and outside the classroom. So that's lovely, lovely, lovely. So what she does, their daily routine most days, is batch remedies, cross crawl, ear unfurling. She also does the ESR, which I mentioned. And one thing I'll add in that I haven't shown you yet is working with our supraspinatus, is a muscle associated with the brain. Lymphatic points here at the front of just in front of the shoulder. Give those a good rub as well. They can really make a difference. And I suppose the final thing in terms of anxiety is to absolutely take a deep, deep breath, taking us out of the stress response and helping to feel calmer. So that will all help with learning too. So, any other questions? I notice we're just coming to the top of the hour.
Just a couple of comments too. Loving the health show. She is extremely helpful. Neve mentions that she remembers using Rescue Remedy during her Even exams and for a driving test, and was great help.
Great.
And then we have a question here. My son has a spelling test every Friday, and come Monday he's already stressing about the test on Friday. Is there anything I can do to help?
Oh, spelling test on, he's Friday. Already worrying about it on Monday. Dear, poor lad. Well, I would definitely do cross crawl, because spelling, you could, do they know the words that, do you think they know the words that they have to spell?
Yeah,
okay, yeah. So then I would do cross crawl as you recite the words, so that there's, better memory around it, but also ESR, visualizing again, him going into classroom on Friday, being really, really relaxed. If you imagine what the best way to do it is, imagine that you are in front of a TV and you can see yourself on the TV, and so you're watching yourself doing the spelling test, and you're nice and calm, and so you see yourself doing that, and you see yourself going through the whole spelling test. I mean, how many rounds do they have, do you think?
They don't mention.
Okay, so maybe it's like, is it against other students? You get knocked out after a certain?
No, it's just the test they say at the end of the week.
Okay, yeah. So just visualize how it would normally happen, and hold these ESR points, our emotional stress release points. They're just on the forehead, okay, and you kind of a little bit of a stretch to the skin, okay. And hold those points as they visualize themselves doing it really well. And that will help. But cross crawl each morning, each evening, when they're studying, will make a huge difference. Cool. All right. Well, listen, we have a bonus for everybody who is on the call today. If you've registered for the call, then you'll automatically be sent our free course that we're sending you. And if you haven't registered yet, then simply go to KinesiologyZone.com/easy, EASY. And what that means is that you will be able to get access to some of the training that we offer on our Balanced Health course with showing you these techniques. So I've had to go through them quite quickly today, but we'd like to give you a free gift. And all you have to do is go to this page, KinesiologyZone.com/easy, and then you'll be able to get access to really an exclusive bonus. We've never released this content before, It's usually only for our students on the Balanced Health course. So we'd love you to be able to share it with other people, help kids have mental health issues and with kids is on the rise. And we've got so many techniques that can really make a difference. And so whether it's, going down to your local health food shop and getting a rescue remedy, or finding out specifically which remedy will help, there's just so many things we can be doing. But on the course, we have information about the cross roll, we have information about the lazy eights, and we also do reading and writing difficulties, a little technique in there that you won't have got today. So it'll be, again, another reason to go in and have a look. But yeah, you'll automatically be given access to the free training that is on our website. So I think that's everything. Have we a plan for next month?
We were maybe possibly going to discuss some batch flowers with names.
Yeah, we are, there's so much information on batch flowers. So we thought if there was a particular health condition, or we just thought maybe we'd dive a bit deeper into batch flowers. So if you're happy with that, give us a few likes on Facebook, and we're hoping to do this really once a month, if not more often. But if you have a topic that you'd like us to cover, then please do get in touch with us in the office, and we'll do our best. We have fun doing this. It helps create some content. It helps to share what kinesiology is all about and demystify it a bit. But enjoy doing it. So hopefully you have enjoyed attending, and thank you for Farah's story. That's so sweet. And I know that many of our students have had health transformations in their kids doing all these techniques. So they are very much something that you do every day and make it part of your lifestyle, because what we do every day really makes a difference, whether that's good or bad. So listen, have a great bank holiday weekend, and look forward to seeing you next month on our health show, which will be episode 8. All right, thank you very much, and bye in Facebook land.